So dig this, Swaim. I just got finished playing Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, me
It
too.
was great. But it left me with some questions about space magic. So when they're on Dathomir, okay, and Marin, the Night Sister, is using the space magic to resurrect the
Magic
space
with a CK.
Right, the space mummies, the teleporting, the cloaking of the ship, all this stuff. I've never seen anything like that before in Star Wars. And so I'm just like a little bit confused about like how this magic does or doesn't interact with the Force. Like I thought I had a pretty good understanding of what the Force is, midichlorians, all that. But then I see this and I'm like, what in the hell is happening? I don't get it. What's happening here?
Yeah, I think actually a lot of decently big Star Wars fans were a little confused when witches and mummies showed up in the franchise. So I spent some time researching today, and I can't explain the in-canon answers. Think of Dathomir as a gusher. It's completely filled with this green goo that they call ichor, or the water of life. And here's the thing that really opened this all up for me as a Star Wars fan that I didn't really immediately like grok, is that believing in the Force, man, the Force is just in us, you know? There's the life force that's in all living things, and there's the cosmic force that binds the galaxy together.
What's that got to do with
the way it
ichor?
is. Just because you're not a Jedi or a Sith doesn't mean you can't get in touch with the Force. And throughout the canon history of Star Wars, different people have believed the Force is different things. So for all we know, this is just the Jedi and Sith interpretation of what it is.
It just doesn't seem to jive with again, like the powers that they have kind of laid out. Like these are like, you know, good Force powers, like Force pushing and like, you know, telekinesis or whatever, and like bad Force powers, which like I think at the peak of it, we see like lightning maybe, you know, Force choking.
In the movie, yeah, for sure.
Again, this
is like the limit.
Space Witch is using the ichor, which I think I could stretch myself to say like maybe there's Force inside of that or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a living organism, but like it's the resurrecting of the Night Sisters
Well, I can
and the
top
teleporting
that.
and like all that stuff. I've never seen anything like that.
But basically the story goes that a Jedi in ancient times called Master Alya, as in all you are going to learn magic.
Oh, I see.
Landed on this planet, taught their children and disciples how to get in touch with the Force. So Alya gives them all powers. Then Count Dooku comes along and finds that this certain group who call themselves a coven and witches have just sort of ritualized the process to the point where...
I'm sorry, let me stop you right there. Are you sure you're not talking about Lord of the Rings? Did you get confused and start talking about a different thing here?
What part of Terran Malicos do you not understand? It's very sci-fi and very sciencey. So as the science and physics of it go, they perverted the ways of Jedi Alya and were sort of banished and became the Night Sisters. But we are to understand that all they're really doing is getting in touch with the dark side of the Force. For example, later one of the last surviving Night Sisters is asked explicitly, look, what's the deal with this magic? You spell it with a CK, what's going on? And she says, now that I've sort of traveled around the quadrant, I realize it's very similar to the Force. It comes out of the trees in the mist.
Similar or the same? Like
it's the same. That's what I'm getting at.
Here's the question that I have to land on.
It's their interpretation of it.
Do you need the ichor to do the necromancy and the teleporting and all the other stuff, or is it inside of all of us who have opted to be baddies?
No, I think this planet has a special chewy center.
That's stupid.
For example, Terran Malicos, the enemy in the game, went mad because of the intense abundance of Dark Force energy in this planet. So it's just like a screwed up planet. It's like an evil place to be. It's the shining house.
Okay, well, dig this. So like if I took some of that ichor, like not enough to make me crazy, but just enough to be able to do the necromancy, like can I do that elsewhere?
Well,
like,
to become a Night Sister, you have to get baptized in it, which means completely bathing in it and having your blood turned into ichor.
Oh, that's not so good.
So my understanding that I'm gleaning, you're gonna stop me there, but just let me get through one more beat, is that they suck the magic goo out of the earth, they put it in their blood.
So just to clarify, just to put a pin in it, the space magic on Dathomir is related only to that planet and only to the ichor.
As far as I'm aware, that's really what it boils down to. Different cultures discover different aspects of the Force and they call it different things. And in the case of this one special planet, their Force powers are sort of jacked up a little by the fact that their planet's filled with this dark Force energy.
So that's probably the last time that we are going to tangle with space mummies or be teleporting around and stuff, right?
I hope so. They tend to keep saying that a certain Night Sister is the last of their kind, and then another property will come along and say, for example, Mother Tarzan was supposed to be last of her kind in Clone Wars. Now Marin is the last of her kind.
Right.
So they keep finding one more Night Sister, so I wouldn't count them out completely.
She seemed like pretty into Ian Gallagher, so we'll see what happens.
We could have a little Night Sister, Night Brother baby.
I think I have my finger on the pulse of it now.
Right. Well, you got to, and we're in the shadow of. Who's that on the left?
What the?
I have to do some more research.
Oh my God. All right, well, for all things Star Wars and space magic, keep it locked to IGN.
He's Luke's dad?